So a couple issues here. So first, the image needs to fit into this whole space. So we'll fix that here in a second. And then we have our comma being added to the end. So let's start there. That's going to be easier. And we're going to do that by coming to our authors. And we have our author, and we should be able to include our index. And then there's one other thing that we can add here. I don't remember what it is. What is that? So map comes back with what we want to do is we can just call this array. And then what we want to say is if our featured content author's length is greater than 1, so there's 2 or more, and or if that's true, then we also want to check that it's not the last user in the array. So I should be able to see that I is less than array I plus 1. Oh wait, so I array, sorry, dot length. And if that's true, then we will return a comma. Otherwise, a blank string times 2, I guess. So we'll see what this ends up being. All right, so that worked. I'm sure there's a neater way to write it, but it works. That's what matters. So then the image is the last thing that we need to fix, and then this is all done. Really, actually, first, the summary needs to be a lot smaller. So let's fix that problem first. And we have our content summary. It's going to be a paragraph. We're going to have a class name, classes. We'll do featured summary. And you can see that we're already generating a lot of classes that we're not going to edit. But still, so featured summary, we will do a font size. No, we don't want it to be that small. So we can do maybe 1.05 rem. So it's a little bit bigger. I need to align items here. Do align items center. So now that's all aligned. That looks good. Now here, we want to work on the image. Because as we get bigger, it fits. But as we get smaller, the gap just gets bigger. So we need to do, I think we can do object fit contain. Nope. Cover. All right, so it's not object fit. Auto, okay. Object fit contain. Cover. All right, so here is where things get interesting. Because height auto. Well, if we set this to be our aspect ratio to be 16:9, we can do, or maybe it needs to be here, aspect ratio 16:9, and then we can do height of 100% maybe. Okay, it's closer. Instead of contain, it needs to be, I just deleted something that I needed. So yes, there we go. So it needs to be cover set at the image level. No big deal there. Do I need this? I don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. So what I need then is object fit cover and height of 100%. And so that's gonna make the image scale up and down within its container space for me. So that's perfect, exactly what I'm looking for. So I need it starting at the small size, which should be 50/50. I don't know why it is not right now. But so we need to go to our featured image. And at the small size, we're gonna tap into our image and we're going to set our height to be 100%. And we're gonna do object fit of cover. And then we're going to set this so that it does not grow. And it should only ever be 50%. Let's refresh. Oh, and so I need to set this to not shrink. Should always be 50%. There we go. So now we got our 50-50 split right there. And then as we go, it switches over to this. So it's kind of a harsh jump from the 50-50. So maybe we need to add our medium small break, not large, our medium small break, and we can do our we can do flex, and we can set it to be so flex shrink we can set to 1, and then or did I do something wrong here? Because it's the body that so I need to set this back to be 1. Oh, I think I just did stuff wrong. So we do 50% there and then 75% there. Yeah, I just crossed some wires. That's no biggie. Okay. So now as the image adjusts, or as the text adjusts, we're able to, now I gotta fix that. But as the image adjusts, we're able to expand and contract the size of things. So here, let's fix that real quick. There's a little bit of overlap here, so I don't want it to wrap quite like that. So how do I want it to wrap? So this is the featured data. So flex, wrap. Man, flex, wrap. Oh, like that. That's how I want it to be done. All right, so now let's take a look here. And there's a gap in between. So let's set that to 0 real quick. So we can set this to be column gap instead. So when we get to wrap, that's fine there. So now we see that this works perfectly good all the way through. I do want to add a little bit more space. So let's set a margin to be like 0.5 rem 0. There, perfect. So now we have a feature. We have all posts. We have our featured post, which we can click into. Don't know why that's not working. Oh, because I did the thing wrong. Right. So I'm glad I'm testing this now. So we have our link, which is going to be our featured slug. Let me get there. And this is going to need to be a blog featured slug. Now if I go back to blog, so now if I click on it, there it is. I see it. It's live. And so I see an issue here at the individual page. We can wrap this up with fixing that. But first, we look good here with our featured posts and our recent posts. This does not repeat, so this only shows as the top post for what we have going. So let's click into this and fix that up real quick because we didn't look at it last time. So here we have we're going to get rid of the post count. No, I want to keep it still because I just want to see what it looks like. So we have our blog authors class that we need to take a look at. And here we're going to set it to be display flex. We'll do flex wrap. We'll do column gap of 1 rem, just like we did with the other stuff. So we have our column gap there, and then we'll wrap down. Perfect. Great. And it looks like it's all aligned. So we are good to go there. So now we can go back to our blog, and this is a great place to stop because now we have our all posts. We have a featured post that is dynamically created when we activate the featured post. And then we have all of our recent posts that fall into line afterwards, depending on date, sorted from descending, so highest date to lowest date, and it's all responsive. So you love to see that. So what we're going to work on next is getting in our metadata for our featured post, or sorry, for our index page here and for our recent posts. So if we go to our to-do list here, we built out the main blog page. So now the next thing to do is to create metadata for blog posts. And we already got all that initialized with our SEO plugin. So eventually we'll get to the contact form and the industry pages and everything in there. But what we've done so far is some pretty good work in our blog pages and in our index page here. So hopefully all of that tracked, like it's a good way of getting this done. Again, I like how we're seeing these errors for the image, and that's on me. So let's write that down. So I'm still seeing like in the image that it can't be undefined. But that's, I think, just my misunderstanding about TypeScript. So we're also going to troubleshoot TypeScript errors on image objects. And I think that'll be probably one video. I think you can let me know what you think in the comments if we can do all of that into one video. It's necessary. It's more like cleaning stuff though, so it's a little more like a chore. So it's not the fun part of getting all of this together, but seeing the errors and knowing that they're going to fail on build kind of makes me nervous. So we'll work on that. So we will also do generate static params for our blog posts. And then, so maybe the next, we definitely won't do anything with the image objects next time. What I think we'll end up doing is a lot more with the blog posts, because we want to also, we're going to create the metadata, yes, we're going to generate static params, yes, but we also need to work on on-demand revalidation with hooks. So we can use hooks in Payload to get our data to be refreshed in the cache. That's what the whole query the whole query blog post thing was. I think we need to actually add it over to our, so we may make our index dynamic. We'll see. Because if we don't make it dynamic, what ends up happening is we have to refresh the entire path, which is not terrible, but when the blog grows to be like thousands of pages, that's going to be a pretty expensive transaction. So we may want to make maybe the first page can be static and then everything after that can be dynamic, but we'll worry about that later. But we'll work on doing the on-demand revalidation with hooks for individual posts. And we'll do all that on the next one. But if you enjoyed this, I want to thank you first for joining me or watching this later. It's truly an honor. So feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be dropping a lot of PayloadCMS content, a lot of NextJS content, and would love for you guys to follow along with that. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop those in the comment section. If you want me to cover something in specific, I can do that as well. Just let me know what you're thinking. Make sure you get notifications to know whenever I go live or whenever I drop a new video. Like the content, share it. And if it helped you, definitely share it because I think it can help someone else. So that's it for this one. I'll see you guys on the next one.